Hi, I'm Carla, Mama Carla to some of you. I'm the other half of the Bald Fat Chef, and you're going to see the Bald Fat Chef, who is Scott, my husband, do a lot of the recipes, but I'm going to be doing some of the baking. So we're going to start out today with one of my favorite desserts. It is so easy and it is so good, so you can fool anybody with this one. They're called raspberry bars, and it's a basic recipe. They don't even have to be raspberry. You can use strawberry, you can use grape, you can use any kind of preserves that you want. I like raspberries because they're not too sweet. Sometimes the strawberries come out way too sweet for me. So we're going to get started. We're going to be ending up with a 9 by 13 pan. And I've already sprayed it. I figured everybody kind of knows how to do that. So I did that ahead of time. So that way it won't stick. But we're going to start out in our pan with, if you take it out, I've got 3 1/3 cups of flour and 1 1/2 cups of sugar. That's it. And then we're going to add to it 1 1/2 cups of chopped pecans. Again, you can use any kind of nut you like. I like the richness of a pecan. Sometimes the walnuts end up a little bit bitter. So pecans work good for us. So there go the pecans. And then we're going to add 1.5 cups of butter. And this is a soft, it's been sitting out most of the day just to get room temperature and soft. But this is a 1 pound block. And I like to work with 1 pound blocks because it's so easy to measure. You don't have to measure them by using an apparatus or a measuring cup. So if I know this is a full 1 pound, I know it's 2 cups of butter. That is life. It's a 2 cup block. So if I need 1.5 cups, I'm going to eyeball. I know, I'm being laughed at. I can hear Nikki right now. Half of it is 1 cup, so I eyeball half of that again, and you do that with it. Peel off paper. Yep, I got all the paper. My garbage can is gone. There. And then we're gonna mix it all up. I also need to add 2 eggs. And what I'm gonna do with the eggs, I've got a container here just with water, just tap water. And a lot of people say, well, aren't you concerned about getting a bad egg? No, we don't want bad eggs. So one way to test an egg is to put it in water, and if it stays on the bottom, it's a safe egg. If the egg floats, it's not good. Toss it. So we're just going to make sure both of these eggs are good. And they both stayed on the bottom. So we're going to crack the old eggs here and put them right in with everything else. I told you this was easy. So we're going to now put this on the machine with a paddle, and some recipes call to use the whip. I like to use the paddle, especially if I've got any kind of substance, because you can bend the whisks on the whip, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to close this up, and we're going to turn it on. This is the part that I can see and you can't, but trust me, it's working. Okay, we're going to mix that up just for a couple minutes. The higher you go, you can get that butter off of the paddle so that you don't have to scrape as much. It kind of incorporates it a little bit easier. And then every once in a while, you want to find your whisk here, knock it down, make sure you don't have any butter or or flour pockets in the bottom of your bowl, because then when you get ready to pan it up, you're going to be disappointed, because then you got to keep doing it. Okay, here we go again. This is almost ready. I'm going to slip these in over here in the sink. Get them out of my way. Okay, I think we are ready. We're mixing up the raspberry bars. They are done, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the machine. And we're going to wrestle with it for just a minute. There we go, I won. We're going to get all of the dough, and you can see it's kind of it's a very short recipe, which means it's very buttery. It's going to be very rich. So we're going to get all of this batter off of the paddles. And good enough. Now, if the grandkids were here, they'd be begging to lick it clean. They're not, so I get it later. Okay, we're going to take, can you see what we've got here? We're going to take probably 2/3 of it. That looks good. It doesn't even matter with this recipe, because what we're going to do is we're going to flatten it into our pan. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's a very forgiving recipe, and it always turns out perfect. We're almost done here, and then I'll show you what my pan looks like, and then we're going to add our raspberry preserves to it. All I've done is basically pat it into this. It doesn't need to be smooth. Now, these are my raspberry preserves, and I'm going to kind of break them up a little bit because I don't want clumps. I want it to be kind of smooth. So I'm going to put that just like into my pan. And we're going to smooth it out, but you don't want to put it all the way to the edge. You want to keep just a little bit of distance there from the jam, because when it bakes, the sugars in the jam will stick to the side of the pans, and then you have a hard time getting it. Okay, we have spread our jam, our raspberry jam, across the top of our pastry, our crumb. And it doesn't even matter what it looks like, just make sure it's kind of everywhere. See, that's what we have. Now, the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take our leftover batter, crumbs, whatever you want to call them, and we're going to kind of clump them and just toss them. And cover the top loosely. We're not going to pat it down. I want it to be kind of chunky looking, because where the jam comes through the pastry, it'll kind of bubble up, and that's just that much more ooh and goo. So we're almost done here, and then we're going to throw it into the oven. Yeah, it says about 40 to 50 minutes, but I keep an eye on it. And sometimes, depending on how your oven works, whether you need to rotate it so that it can cook evenly. So we are real close here, and I will show you when I've got it done. And if you have extra, don't worry about it. Like I've got a little bit more. Kind of fill in the holes and throw it on top, and we don't care. Now, let's see, what am I going to do here? About 350 degrees, I believe. And you're going to see how rough this looks. And that's the joy of this recipe too. It doesn't have to be pretty. That's what we've got. Do you see that okay? Now we're going to put that into the oven and we will be back with you shortly. We're back. The raspberry bars have come out of the oven. We baked them for about 35 minutes. I like to just go a lot for color. You can tell, you get used to it anyway. These have cooled for probably about 45 minutes so that I can cut them apart and show you what they look like. But don't attempt them right out when they come out of the oven because that hot preserve is like lava. So it's pretty dangerous. So we're going to just cut a corner here. And it's still pretty soft. Oh my goodness, I can smell. Okay. Can you see that? Okay.
We're zoomed right on.
Oh my gosh, they are so good. Okay, I'm going to... test. I get to eat it and you don't. Okay. Oh my goodness. Hot. This is a definite recipe you have to try because it is so simple and it is, like I said, it's foolproof. These are awesome. Thank you for joining me. I am Mama Carla with the Bald Fat Chef. And don't forget to watch and like and subscribe. And I'm going to get back to eating my raspberry bar.